guys, welcome back to the letter. I tried the other route. I'm not sure which one's better, so let's just continue on where we left.
Clear as day, ma'am. Thanks, Rose.
You insisted. But remember what I said. First sign of you looking not okay, and we're off. No questions asked.
It's just a small bump. Don't worry.
You shouldn't downplay these kinds of things. It could be a serious injury for all we know.
Suddenly a small cough sounds against the walls of the foyer, interrupting our banter. The woman is looking expectantly at the two of us. Her stare makes me shrink back a little on myself. She isn't really intimidating. Well, she is. But not in the scary, negative way. Far from it, actually. Her demeanor simply commands an air of sophistication and respect. In a different world, a younger me would have probably wished to be like her. At our lack of response, she coughs again, lifting a well-trimmed eyebrow at me in question. Sorry if I yawn a bit. Words get caught in my throat at the sight of it, and Rose as well is swift to catch my blunders.
My sincerest apologies, Mrs.
Miss McCulloch. Marianne McCulloch.
Interior designer. Oh, probably someone interested in the mansion for its 17th century influences then? I won't hold it against her though. Despite the hearsays and remaining uninhabited for years, the mansion's original fittings and furniture have been kept completely intact and restored to pristine condition. I suppose some people find that trip to the past feeling appealing. After all, with what it offers, this place could also be a haven for people looking to live somewhere else, looking to live somewhere with a classic historical charm.
Miss McCullough, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We're just ironing out a few things, but we'll be starting the tour soon enough. In the meantime, we've prepared some refreshments for you in the parlor while you're waiting. If you could please...
Thanks. There's no need for it, though. I just dropped by for a quick survey of the place. I thought I should check the estate before I meet with the homeowners.
Is she Irish? Or maybe Scottish? I can't remember. Rose's complexion is confusion. Oh my god, let me start that over. Rose's confusion is impossible to miss when she glances at me, and I return it with an equally perplexed look. And against my better judgment, I blurt out the first question that comes to mind.
I'm sorry. Homeowners?
I should have kept my mouth shut. A flash of irritation crosses her face, but it instantly disappears under a mask of professional detachment.
Yes. Hannah Wright? I was hired by her to handle the interior design for their newly bought home. This is the Ermengarde mansion, right?
It is, but...
She pauses, possibly trying to find the right words to fix the awkward situation without offending someone. Well, we've gone this far already, so why don't I just... Let's try this one first. Those few moments have given me enough time to clear my head of any nervousness or confusion clouding it.
It is, ma'am, but we weren't aware the mansion has already been sold.
What do you mean?
I almost flinch when she turns her gaze on me, but I stand my ground. Besides, it isn't like I haven't dealt with awkward situations like this before. I may screw up at times, but that doesn't mean I haven't learned a thing or two in the past 5 years I've worked in the business.
The mansion is indeed for sale, ma'am. Today's the open house, in fact. However, we haven't heard anything from the higher-ups that a deal has already been closed for this particular property. If you'd like, my co-agent and me can check with them right now.
She nods, seemingly in deep thought after I've finished. She appears to be a reasonable person anyway. Given the proper explanation, she'd surely understand.
I thought something looked odd when I arrived here. Excuse me, I think I need to make a call to my secretary. Thank you for your assistance, Miss Santos.
With a slight wave of her hand, she leaves us. Phew! Okay, so I didn't pick the wrong one. Both Rose and I breathe a sigh of relief. Disaster averted. I also don't miss the thumbs up she gives me for doing a good job, and I can't help but swell with pride. Still, I've already prepared myself to dial the number to our Luxborn office and check, even if she didn't ask for it. I will be very frustrated if, for some reason, something has already been decided without mine or Rose's knowledge. That's a whole new level of unfair. We've been working hard on this. Moments later, Miss Kahlo returns, looking a little frustrated, but with an apology clear on her face. I feel a little sorry for her having to go through all this trouble.
There seems to have been a little misunderstanding with my client. If you'll allow it, I'd like to stay and wait for them here. I was informed they'll be dropping by for the open house today. I figured it'd be a waste to just leave after that long drive. I might as well meet him here.
Certainly. You could stay at the parlor in the meantime, ma'am. I'm sure it won't be long before our guests arrive. And, Isabella? I left a few documents in my car. You know where I keep those. Can you please get it for me?
Rose takes a glance at her wristwatch before tossing me a sentence.
And hurry! We've still got a few minutes to double-check those papers.
Okay, got it.
Their departure brings with it a stillness that keep me company, neither welcoming nor comforting. Alone like this, it's impossible not to think of what really happened. I wish the memory isn't as elusive as it normally is. Then again, Rose already said she didn't receive any call from me. Was it just paranoia? A temporary lapse after having heard all those tales about this place? Probably. I want to think of it as such. Better to think of it as such so I can work in peace. Except a small part of my mind begs to differ. And if I am going to be completely honest with myself, I want nothing more than to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't know what's in this house, and I don't want to know. The keys Rose have just handed to me dig into my palm, its jagged edges creating shallow ridges on my skin from how hard I'm clutching it. It's a reminder of what I still need to do, and why I've taken this job in the first place. Hugging my blazer close to my body, I exit the house to get what Rose has asked of me. Just a few more hours, Isabella. Sell the house, get the money. Oh, great. A flock of people have already gathered in the mansion's front yard by the time we officially open the doors. I'm not sure whether I should feel baffled or underdressed standing in their presence. Men and women of wealth and status, all dressed to the nines in fancy clothes, fancy suits and lovely dresses of varying colors. Composed medium-sized crowd. Medium? What do you consider medium? Their necks, arms, and fingers are adorned with silver and gold, glinting in the afternoon sun. Some even have ridiculously feathered hats on their heads. I really hope there aren't any magpies living nearby, like in the stories. Those birds will have a field day in this. They are murmuring among themselves, looking at the estate's facade appraisingly, with some arguing about whose mansion has the superior architecture. But most of it stops as Rose calls for their attention. They don't look too pleased at being ordered around. But what can they do about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We'll be taking a tour of the mansion in 2 groups. Please make sure you filled up our sign-in forms before joining a specific group.
Those who want to look around the first floor, please follow my partner. I'll be guiding the ones who wish to see the ground floor.
Hearing this, a few wander to me. They are mostly old ladies who seem daunted at the idea of climbing all those stairs. Miss Kala also joins our group, but what really catches my eye is the elegantly dressed pair she approaches.
It's so nice to finally meet you! When Chief Inspector Lee mentioned that a famous interior designer is in town, I knew I had to get you!
Your confidence in my skills is very flattering, ma'am.
I'm sure you won't disappoint, Marianne.
Oh, you know each other?
Not at all, ma'am.
You mentioned something about a Marianne on our way here, darling?
Oh, yes, I think I did.
They must be the clients she was talking about. I might have seen their faces somewhere before. Some magazine? Or the television? I can't quite remember. But then again, most of our guests have likely ended up on the news one way or another. I won't be surprised if these two already have. For people who are popular, though, they aren't dressed as loudly as the others, and in their simplicity, this couple stands out. The woman, in particular, is stunning enough to turn the heads of most people in my group, especially the men with wandering eyes. The guy standing beside her doesn't seem to mind, though. And if I'm going to be a bit bolder with my assumptions, I'd say he's basking in the attention. Both of them, in fact. I'd say they are brother and sister if it wasn't for their public display of affection. The matching rings on their finger just cement the fact that they are indeed a couple. Whatever. Couple or not, what's important is we get this deal closed before the current owner can even think of canceling the listing. I just hope one of the people in my or Rose's group is brave and generous enough to buy this mansion. And so, with papers in hand, I lead the way. Ooh, what do we got here? What's in the journal? Okay. Rose Cooper, along with a woman who introduced herself as Marianne McCullough, found Isabella Santos lying unconscious in the mansion's foyer before the open houses start. Unable to recall what happened prior, Isabella insisted on working despite her co-agent's worries about her well-being. Today marked the open house of the infamous Ermengarde Mansion. Open to the public for the first time in years, Luxborn's most esteemed and prominent personalities gathered to catch a glimpse of the 17th century property, including Luxborn's most well-known couple, Luke and Hannah Wright. Also, if you remember back when you were with Becca, there was a second choice. It made your relationship with her go down. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Okay, here we go. When they aren't whispering among themselves or going ooh and ah over one thing or another, they ask questions. From how the restoration process went to the history of the place, I answer them all. More than happy to talk about the art pieces and architecture mostly. However, I'm careful not to mention anything about the urban legend. Not a good material for sales talk, even if the entire population of Luxborn knows about it.
Some of the furnishings here are actually the 17th century originals, all of which have undergone a painstaking restoration process just to return its original beauty.
Even the glass thing. Colorful ones. Oh, I don't know, but you get the idea, I hope.
Especially that one, ma'am. It is said to be a gift commissioned by the fiancé of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. The mansion's current owners have specifically requested that the restoration crew take great care in handling it. It's a priceless work of art and the most distinctive feature of the mansion.
By the time I finish talking, her attention is already elsewhere.
Isn't this place wonderful, darling? I told you it's not a total waste of your time.
I don't know. Isn't it a bit too small? We might have to break a wall down to have more room.
Well, I think it is just right. Don't you think so, Marianne?
It is splendid, ma'am. But isn't it a little too early to make plans when no deal has been signed yet?
Never mind that. It isn't going to be a problem. We've got a wonderful legal team to handle everything. Start taking notes, though. I think I've got a few things I want changed before we move in.
The rest of the conversation gets lost in the chatter of our companions. I don't want to make any assumptions yet, but their sheer interest is enough to give me some semblance of hope. Oh, please, 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 let these guys be the one. Eventually, our group reaches the kitchen. Does it matter? I don't think I can see the story. Oh, no thanks. Much like the rest of the house, a great deal of effort has been put into retaining the room's classical appeal. Oh god, it's... okay. Never mind, it's what was around back in the days. The open hearth at the end of the room in particular looks amazing. Like the ones I've only seen in fairy tale books. And mad props to the cleaning crew. Seriously, after overhearing hundreds of their complaints about the soot and tar staining the bricks, and how much of a pain in the arse cleaning this will be, they still managed to pull this off. Or make it look presentable, at least.
The highlight of the room, however, is what's underneath this hatch here.
Oh, don't say anything yet! An underground wine cellar.
This is the first time the guy in gray speaks up. Mr. Luke Wright, if my memory supplies from forms they signed earlier. His sudden attentiveness catches me off guard. Since the start of the tour, only his wife has shown any form of genuine interest in the place. But this time, something lights up in his eyes at the mention of the undercroft. What's so interesting about a basement? I really don't understand rich people sometimes. Right now, he just gives me the impression of a child who has seen what he absolutely wants for Christmas. I've always found it cute whenever I see children act that way. My younger siblings especially. On a grown man, it's almost funny.
Yes, sir. It could house around 7,000 to 11,000 bottles of wine.
Truly. And the room, how was it built?
The bricks that were used to build the cellar have been carefully picked for the purpose of maintaining and preserving a constant temperature and humidity in the room. It's a good place to keep your private collection in if you have one, sir.
It keeps the corks in good condition.
Oh, love. Didn't you say before that you wanted to make your own personal vineyard? Perhaps you could start one here.
You know we're going to need space for that, darling.
And this isn't big enough?
If it's space you're worried about, sir, the Ermengarde mansion sits on a 46-acre lot. There's plenty of room for it. We were told that the original owners had a horse stable built here before, too.
There's a contemplative expression on Mr. Wright's face, but he doesn't say anything further. His wife, however, seems really pleased that he has started to show interest, if only a little. I smile to myself. I may not completely understand how these people's minds work, but I sure as hell know how to spot a buyer with sincere interest. Score! I can't wait to tell Rose. The rest of the tour goes by without a hitch. After more than half an hour, we're able to cover almost every room on the ground floor and are heading to the parlor. Funny, the first time BRC had us survey the location, I kept complaining to Rose how big it is. Now I can't even bring myself to care, no matter how much my feet hurt. Maybe this is just my excitement over a possible sale. When we reached the parlor, However, an odd feeling washes over me. It starts off as small goosebumps on my skin. Oh, okay, let me start that over. It starts off as small goosebumps on my skin. A feeling of being watched intently. Whispers in my ear and shadows dancing, lurking in the corner of my vision. I knew I heard something. Dark silhouettes that are gone when I turn to look. A chill settles down my spine, making me feel sick, and I start to break out in a cold sweat. I can't do this. I need to sit down for a minute. The old ladies in the group have been requesting for a break anyway. If I can just...
Excuse me, everyone? We will be taking a 15-minute rest here before we visit the first floor. In the meantime, please help yourselves to the refreshments and snacks we prepared. If anyone has any questions, feel free to approach me. I'd be happy to help you.
I let them sit while I retreat to a quiet corner to recover. It's not what you think. Don't think about it. It's not what you think. I've probably just caught Becca's cold. Don't think about it. I'm left alone for a good while, the same words spilling out of my lips in a silent prayer. Until a hand taps my shoulder.
Hello, you there?
Yes, ma'am?
Oh, look at you. Having to show a group around a mansion this big must be exhausting.
Not a problem, ma'am. I'm just doing my job.
What a hard worker. Anyway, Isabel, right?
Isabella, actually. But yes, what can I help you with, ma'am, right?
Please, just Hana. Call me Hana. I just wanted to ask, how soon are we able to move in?
My brain completely stops. The sick feeling plaguing me is suddenly gone, replaced with utter bewilderment. Is this a joke? She looks at me expectantly as I struggle to come up with an answer.
Wait, ma'am, you see... But we haven't even negotiated a price yet, ma'am. We haven't even finished touring the rest of the mansion. A sale would be great and all, but...
She stops me from speaking any further and puts a hand on my shoulder. For a moment, with her tight smile, she looks as if she's tasted a particularly sour lemon.
Oh, please, sweetie, don't insult me. Money is not a problem. And, just between you and me, this place is better off with us than with some old lady who'll probably just fill it up with cats.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with having cats here, ma'am Hana. I'm sure there's more than enough space here if you want pets.
Perhaps I'm still not feeling well, but really, what's wrong with cats? More importantly, why is she talking about moving in already?
Well, I'm more of a dog person. But you see, this is going to be a gift to my darling. It's going to be our anniversary soon, and it would be so wonderful if you can secure its purchase for us. Why, I can even offer something extra if you help us out with the paperwork.
We actually have a process for this, ma'am. I don't really think that would be necessary or appropriate.
And just what are you two lovely ladies talking about here? Leaving me and our lovely interior designer to talk here by ourselves. What would the people think, darling?
Oh, it's just small talk, love. I was asking if she could help me with the paperwork.
I try not to wince when her nails dig into my shoulder. Gah! I can't help but send an imploring look at Miss Cole, who gives me an apologetic smile and a shrug.
Yeah, I can give you a fact sheet and a form to fill out.
She wastes no time in taking the papers from my hand and shuffles through the bunch. Oh man, Rose is going to be so angry at me for letting her do that.
Wonderful. And Marianne, I'd really love to talk to you about those changes. You took some notes earlier, yes?
I did, Mom. But I really hope that this time...
Excellent. Hopefully you can help us out too, Isabel.
Isabella.
Right. It's a lovely name, Isabel.
Oh my god. She can't even get the name right. Good girl. Sorry, my cat.
It's Isabella.
Yes, that's great. We'll be more than happy to put in a good word to your superiors, too, and... What's this?
Uh-oh. A look of confusion and disgust appears on her face. Turning to her husband, he merely shrugs in reply.
That's, an interesting work of art. Not to my taste, though. I'm sorry.
Darling, Buttercup, art is a complete overstatement for this garbage. It looks like a cheap prop from a D-list horror film.
Shush, love. Let the girl do what she pleases with, what do they call this? Oh, forget about it. At the very least, it's not as dreadful as the one art exhibit I was forced to attend last month. You should have seen it, Marianne. Even you would have been appalled. But I'm sure you'll know what to do with our walls once we get started.
I highly doubt it is as bad as you say, ma'am. Nevertheless, you can be assured that my team will only pick whatever suits your tastes. Nothing of this chain letter sort, of course. It has to always work with a palette.
I'm quite sure chain letters these days don't come in this form.
It's my turn to be puzzled. What did they mean? Rose and I double-checked everything. Are the papers I handed not enough? I want to ask what's wrong. I don't want to mess this up. But with the way Ma'am Hannah's leading the conversation, I'm afraid that's exactly what will happen if I do interrupt her.
That's good to hear. See, darling, isn't she an absolute delight to work with? I can't wait to see how this place will look when she's done with it.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Buttercup.
A smile is back on her face when she turns to me and hands me a strained piece of paper.
I would still put it away if I were you, though. Otherwise, people might get the wrong impression. Anyway, as I was saying...
I don't hear the rest of what she says after that. I can only stare down at the paper, at the letter in my hands. The sides crinkle in my grip as my breathing grows labored. Dread quickly fills my mind.
Isabella? Isabella? Are you all right? You're looking pale.
I didn't even notice when Rose's group joined us in the parlor. I want nothing more than to say, no, I'm not all right. I want to leave this place, because I remember everything as clear as day. The letter, and that woman in the attic. It's real.
The letter. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Careless. I've been so careless. How do I even tell them that without looking like I've gone mad?